that's pretty bad hair. Alright, well, that was worth a shot, wasn't it? Yeah, no, let's not look at it. It's pizza time. Welcome back. I'm going to be doing pizza today. I had a vote on it between this and fresh pasta. I'll probably be doing a ravioli video here soon. I have a lot of things I can make a really tasty ravioli with, and I've been thinking about it. But I did get a lot of votes for pizza, so we're going to do that one now. This marks a full 2 weeks of quarantine for me. This last week has been full of being lethargic and depressed. I'm sure other people have felt that as well. I can only say that it hopefully will get better from here as long as we all stay the fuck away from each other. Stay the fuck away from each other. Also, wash your hands. Not hard. I wash my hands all the fucking time. So just doing a real quick, easy pizza dough, pizza sauce. Gonna make a cheese pizza because I don't have a lot of stuff in my house. To me, pizza is comfort food. I've turned to pizza in times of need many times. It's just good. Pizza's just good. It makes you feel good. So we're just gonna be doing that. Everyone has their own opinions on pizza, what should go on it, what your crust should be like, how much of an outer crust you should have. I prefer kind of crispier, thin sauce ones, so that's what I'm going to try to go with. If you disagree, Grant, I'm very sorry, but that's just what we're going to go with today. Bread, pizza dough, making pizza dough. As you can see here, I have a scale out. I previously weighed all of this dough out. It's about 10 ounces, which is approximately 2 cups. I'm using a regular flour instead of bread, which will be a problem later. I'm sifting in 2 teaspoons of salt into that flour base, and then you'll have a teaspoon of yeast, followed by half a teaspoon of sugar. You are also going to need 11.5 ounces of water at 105 to 110 degrees. The temperature is very important for the yeast. Too cold and the yeast won't activate, and too hot and this kills the yeast, causing your dough to do absolutely nothing. Too cold will also make your dough do absolutely nothing. Now, I did add the sugar to this recipe. It wasn't originally in it. I did this so it would feed my yeast more, as sugars are what yeast need to start their fermentation process, which is exactly what yeast is doing within your dough. It is fermenting. What happens in your dough is that gluten that we're going to be building up right here while we mix it is creating a structural net over the dough so that those air pockets, as it ferments, can't escape. That's why you get all those little holes in your bread. Sourdoughs have a lot of fermentation, which is why they have such big pockets in like the really good sourdough breads. Up here, you can see here, I did have to add in a little more flour. As I said, I'm using a regular flour and not a bread flour, which caused it to be really sticky, and the gluten wasn't building as fast as I wanted. I ended up adding another cup. I mean, you can't overwork a dough, but with bread doughs, it's actually less of a worry than it is with like a pastry dough. You really want that good gluten though to get brought up. As you can see, it's like stringy, it's sticky, it's tacky, and as you knead it out, it's gonna absorb more of that flour as you knead it, and it's gonna smooth out into this very nice texture, which will kind of give back as you use it. Like the more you press down, it doesn't want to stay down, it kind of comes back. That's good. That's that gluten that you wanted to build. And then once you have a nice, like, you've pressed it, folded it, done that kneading technique enough times that it's really forming in a nice round ball, you can do a little touch test where you're going to like kind of poke the top of it. If it just like doesn't do anything. That's good. That's a good gluten. That's a good gluten mix you got going on there. Once you have your dough all ready to go, nice and super gluteny, I'm gonna put a little oil in a bowl, then put a little oil on top to keep it moist. Throw that plastic wrap over it and chuck it somewhere warm to sit for like an hour or so to proof. You want it to kind of double in size. And there you have your little pizza dough ball ready to go. Just gonna leave it over here and let's make a sauce. You might be thinking to yourself, Jen, why the hell we're using a hand mixer to mix that dough? Well, to be fair, the whole concept of these videos is to help people who maybe don't have all the fun stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have a hand mixer. Yes, I have a food processor, both of which would have been much easier to make this dough in. But not everyone has those items. If you do, use those instead. Don't use your hand mixer. I just did to show you that it was possible. It was not saying that was the way to go. 100%. But you can do it. Don't think, oh, I can't do that because I don't have whatever weird mixer or food processor that it says you need. You don't. Right now, it's all about making do. It's all about getting through this. And one of my comfort foods, frickin' pizza. So while I have that dough going, I'm gonna also mix up a really quick sauce. It's not gonna be super fancy. I'm gonna use this tomato paste. I'll just whip it up real quick right now. Let me see. Alright, I have here half a can of tomato paste, garlic, bay leaf, herbs de Provence, and white wine. I add a little water to it to give it the consistency that I want. Heat it up just to let the herbs really infuse. Salt, pepper, and that was it. You can easily use canned sauce. I just decided to go this route instead.
1 hour later.
As I was preheating the oven, I left the dough wrapped sitting on top of the oven to give it kind of the ambient warmth that it needed. As you can see, we got a pretty big dough baby, about doubled in size, maybe a little more. Still springy. That's good. Nice floured surface. Now, before you can start getting hands gross, you're going to need the pan that you're going to cook it in. I'm using this big old cast iron. You can also just put it on a sheet tray. You can even put it in like a baking pan, like a rectangle baking pan, make big rectangle pizzas. It's really whatever you want to do. Oh, that's a nice dough. Punching down, kind of push some of that air out of him. Oh, he feels nice. Alright, here's around the time where I realized I made too large of a batch of pizza dough for one pizza. I should have split it. I wasn't thinking it would be that large. So I cut it in half and use half of it to actually form the pizza I'm going to cook, and the other half I save for later and also for this fun shit right now. Alright, so you'll have your crust on the pan that you're going to be using. Make sure it's the shape that you want it to be. Then you'll take a fork and just poke all along the bottom of it. This just keeps it from bubbling up too high, similar to what you do with a pie crust. Go grab whatever sauce you're going to be using and get a nice layer in there. Get your bay leaves out, obviously. And just kind of spread them out. If you don't want a lot of sauce, you don't have to put a lot of sauce. I like a lot of sauce. I also like a lot of crust, so I'm not going all the way out to the edges. Once you have that good layer on there, you'll grab your cheese. I like Violife fake cheese. You'll just get a really nice layer of that all over the place. If you're putting more toppings on than just cheese, I suggest putting cheese down your toppings and then more cheese, because the cheese will act as a food glue to keep all your toppings on your actual pizza when you cut it up and go to eat it. And once that's all done, you have a beautiful pizza. It's ready to go in the oven. And it'll be about 20 minutes. And there we have it. The pizza. Nice, crispy crust. I like a wider crust. I'm a big crust fan. The sauce has that nice dark red color to it, which is what you want. And the cheese, it's dairy-free cheese. It's not gonna look good. All right, they don't look good, and it's fine, I guess. And this cheese. Now, I don't have a pizza cutter, but I do have this big bitch. Oh, yes. I'm only gonna cut half. Oh yeah. That perfect, super thin. It's got that nice thin crust. You can see all the little air pockets in there. Nice, thin, but still chewy. I think I'm ready to play video games now.